Hello my lovelies, I hope you're all well. Today I thought I would do a little reaction video to Sheriff Grady Judd. I have heard that he is very matter of fact, very funny, a kind of no-nonsense guy over in the States. So I thought I would watch one of his videos and let's see how it goes. I apologise if you hear any noise, we have some new people moving in next door.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with me. We met yesterday and I gave you the initial information on an assist other agency we worked with and for the Lake Alfred Police Department. At that time, I informed you that Gene Carlos Felix Colon, who goes by the name of Felix, was shot one time and deceased. And the information we were able to give you was pretty cloudy yesterday because our detectives were still sorting through the information and talking to the various witnesses. Well, it's cleared up a lot. We're not completely through with the investigation, as you can imagine, but we can give you further information today. I want to introduce you to Emmanuel Herrera. He's 19 years of age. Emmanuel and Carla Hilaro, who is 17 years of age, are brothers and sisters. Late in the evening, they were walking through the neighborhood and stopped to look at a vehicle. When they stopped to look at the vehicle, Joseph Colon and his brother Felix Colon said that Emmanuel was looking mean mugging them. I think their terminology was looking nasty or giving us a nasty look. So when these two folks, along with some other friends, decided Emmanuel was looking at them nasty or mean mugging them, they started to come out of their house. Emmanuel testifies that he and Carla testified to us during witness statements separately that they thought that Felix had a gun. So Felix and Joseph followed them about 58 yards down the road in the mobile home park away from the original encounter. And at that point in time, here's simply what occurred. Well, Felix punched Emmanuel in the chest. And Felix punched Emmanuel in the chest after they had already heard the sound of a stun gun. Apparently another girl, when the confrontation began and they were following each other down the street, executed a stun gun and you could hear it popping. So now our deceased punches Emmanuel in the chest. He believes Emmanuel has a gun, so he pulls his firearm and shoots one time. And Felix, as a result of that, is struck underneath the left arm. It travels completely through his torso, and he dies from those injuries. As soon as the shot occurred,
All of this because of a dirty look that someone gave someone else.
then Joseph tried to shoot Emmanuel. And Joseph's gun wouldn't work, so he racked another round in it and shot one time as well. That accounted for the multiple gunshots that were heard. When Felix was shot, he turned and ran about 30 yards behind the mobile home. And that accounts for the fact that the Lake Alfred police officer who arrived didn't see anything. He questioned the Colones, some of the Colones that were out, and they go, "No, I haven't seen anything." And later on, Joseph Colon finds his brother deceased behind the mobile home. So the investigation is underway. That night, which was last night, as I indicated to you, both Joseph Colon and Emmanuel Herrera were charged. Both of them were charged with carrying a concealed firearm, and both of them were charged with tampering with evidence because both of them independently hid their firearm. So the investigation went on to try to find out, hey, did Joseph shoot his brother by mistake, or did Emmanuel shoot Felix? At the autopsy this morning, the evidence that we secured initially suggests that Emmanuel fired a close-range shot that ultimately killed Felix. But here's the issue that we're having to work through. Both Emmanuel and Carla at that moment in time believed Felix had a firearm. He didn't. But they both told us, we saw a firearm and we think it was being given to Felix. And maybe it was. If it was handed off to Joseph, because Joseph's the one that actually had the firearm. But Emmanuel did not confront them. In fact, he was walking away, trying to get away from the crowd of people when he was confronted by the two brothers, punched in the chest. He retaliated with firing one round because he thought that Felix had a firearm. So we've got to work through the issue, was Emmanuel Herrera standing his ground, or did he commit a criminal charge of murder? We'll be working with the state attorney through that.
What a mess. I mean, where do you begin with this kind of thing?
Set of circumstances with the physical evidence as it comes back to us from the lab. Once again, it's another example, and we've seen it all over the nation where they said, well, he shot him and he didn't even have a gun. Well, he didn't have a gun after the fact, but it was what did he perceive at that moment in time? Was his life and his sister's life in grave danger? He had seen a firearm. He was clearly retreating when he and his sister were overtaken by the Colons. That's the data that we're faced with. That's the information we've got to work with. And that's what we'll be working with the state attorney's office and obviously seeing if all the witnesses, because there's multiple witnesses, we think we've talked to them all, but maybe we haven't. How does all that square up when we put the entire case together? And as you well know, we are, just over 24, 30, 35 hours maybe into the investigation. So, are there any questions on that before we go to the next issue?
Sheriff, I was just asking your reaction to a 24-year-old losing his life over supposed dirty looks.
Well, once again, if you talk to Emmanuel and Carla, they stop to look at the gun. If you believe the Colons, that he was mean mugging them or giving them nasty looks, there was obviously, you don't want anyone to lose their life. But let me underscore, there's never going to be a murder that makes sense that's worth somebody losing their life. And then I hear people say, well, not in this particular case, but in cases, well, they were crazy. Well, of course they're crazy. Normal people don't murder people. And of course
Facts. Normal people don't murder people. He's talking truth.
had a conflict here because normal people walking down the street, even if they stop stop to look at a gun don't get confronted and shot.
No.
So these folks did not know each other, neither the Colognes or Emmanuel Herrera or his sister, according to them. They did, even though they lived in the same vicinity, they did not know each other. The information they tell us that there was not a previous conflict. So why in the world would you confront people with a firearm? Well, I can tell you why. Because criminals carry firearms, and they carry firearms in violation.
Not so much in this country. I'm in England, by the way. We don't really have so much of a gun problem over here. We have a knife problem over here. It's really bad in London and the other cities. Luckily where I live, we have a relatively low crime rate, so we're lucky. But yeah, knife crime is a big issue in London and the other cities.
Of the law. And in fact, Felix Cologne, who ultimately did not have the firearm in this circumstance, at least at that moment in time, according to what we know, is on felony probation for carrying a concealed firearm on another occasion. That's why I tell people, this is all simple. It's not rocket science, but it's a whole lot more important than that. Leave people alone. If you confront people, if you scare people,
you are never going to know what a stranger has on them. Obviously, over in the States, they might have a gun. Over here, they might have a knife or some other weapon. It's best to just leave people alone.
if they believe you have a gun, if they believe you have a knife, they're likely to shoot you if they have one, even if they're carrying it illegally, which he was.
Yeah.
So our shooter, whether or not he faces criminal charges for the murder, for the homicide, we don't know that yet. But he's certainly going to face other criminal charges. We don't want to see anyone shot and killed, ever. But you can believe when the testosterone runs wild and people are assaulted and threatened, and somebody's carrying an illegal firearm, the chances of them making a bad decision increases.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it. There was a stun gun. We did recover it. It was discharged by a young lady that was Joseph Cologne's girlfriend. She cycled it, Gabriella, who was 20, cycled it back up at the house. So according to the Emmanuel, he and his sister, they looked at the car, they saw the people on the porch, they started asking them, "What are you doing?" They started to leave. Gabriella executes the stun gun just to make noise, because a popping sound. They're 58 yards away. The Colognes have followed them down. They saw one person hand another person a gun. They both tell us they thought that Felix was the one with the gun. Felix comes up, punches them. At that point in time, Emmanuel pulls his gun and shoots.
There's got to be more to this story. You don't just go after somebody for looking at your car. You know? Is it just me? That seems really odd.
And we have a dead young man that shouldn't be dead. But that's what happens when you confront people and you scare people and they believe you have a gun, and that's what occurred here. Now we have to sort through all of that to see what the final decision will be, and we'll be working through that with the state attorney's office. Okay? Now, here's the next event some of you have asked about. It's about 6:15 p.m. on Thursday, April the 15th. Travis Farley is 80.
Okay, he's going into another case now, so. I really like this guy. I like him. If you want to see me react to more Sheriff Judd, let me know. There definitely seems like there's more to that situation than what they know at the point of this video being made anyway. If you know of any updates, then please let me know, because I'm really interested in this kind of thing. And obviously we don't hear a lot of like American crime stories and stuff like that over here that are ongoing. It's not in our news unless it's like a really big thing. Yeah, so that was interesting. I definitely think there's more to that than what they currently know. So it'd be interesting to hear any updates and see what situation actually was, because that just seemed really odd to me, that just someone walking past your house and looking at your car, that you would sort of chase after them and punch them. It seems very strange. And someone letting off a stun gun, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but then I guess I don't live in that environment, so who knows. There seems to be this big thing about respect, and you have to show me respect. The way I was brought up, respect is earned, and you're not just gonna I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you want to see any more reactions to Sheriff Judd or anything else. Okay, I'll see you soon.